Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Making sure I'm coming through. Okay, look at this. Is this cooler or what? Does that look better? Been working on that all the morning. Let me know if I'm coming through okay and if the screen looks quite good. Anyway, for anyone who's new, welcome to the Wednesday stream. And let's get into some markets, shall we? You have an echo? Oh, God. I knew something would go wrong. Is there still an echo now? Still an echo? Yeah? Oh, shit. Oh, I knew something would go wrong. I thought it would all be okay. Hold on. Yeah? Oh, I knew something would go wrong. It's good now? Okay, great. Okay, good. Excellent. I think just because I had my speakers on, so maybe it was echoing through that, but good to see I'm coming through now. Yeah, thanks, Al. I appreciate that. So I've got a few different screens. The reason being is, Aaron, how you doing, mate? The reason being is we're actually doing our 50K winner announcement on Friday, so I'll do it on the stream on Friday. We've got our $200 winner announcement. These are all RTFX members on Friday. So I'm trying to get like some cool screens to do all this kind of stuff. So I've changed from Vimeo to OBS, if any of you kind of know what that means. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I think it looks quite cool. Let me know if it's worse or if it's better, or you think it looks good. Any feedback would be appreciated. But let's go into the SPX today, risk sentiment. Now, I've actually got a potential setup in the US 30. We are looking quite bearish, obviously, because of COVID. Omicron variant is still in the world right now. We haven't got much data on it, so uncertainty still persists. And markets don't like that. However, from a technical aspect, it looks bearish. We could be in line for potentially this, getting a reaction around this support zone for moving up into these moving averages, for maybe it to come back down and continue to the downside. That is my technical bias of it, as long as we see some reason or some sellers coming into this area. So I think this is quite a decent level it's at now, because we're at that dynamic resistance to price. You know, we've crossed underneath to 200, and now we're kind of retesting that area for potentially coming back down. There's no indication of that yet. You know, it's quite bullish here. We've had some rejection. We didn't close below this support zone, and we're pushing on right now, and we look pretty bullish at this point in time. So I think the next couple of hours will be quite interesting. And on the smaller time frames, it actually doesn't look too bad. If you look at this, again, we dissect that 4 hour, you're getting a potential bullish signal there. It's retested this area twice. And in this section, we've got some volume coming in for pushing it to the upside. Now, on smaller time frames, if we do get a break above this area and a break and close, it may not look too bad for the SPX. I have this sneaky suspicion that maybe this Omicron variant, we've seen a few variants come out, you know, the things that are coming out of South Africa are that the virus strain, although some people are saying it's more severe than they're saying we got a booster with this Pfizer vaccine and you're okay. But it seems to be that the variant isn't as worrisome as this reaction should be. So technical-wise, I'm looking to the downside because that's what the charts are telling me. But I just have this sneaky suspicion that markets could rally from now. Markets could rally. And saying that, the reason why I'm saying that is because, you know, we're getting some decent movement on these smaller time frames on the indexes. Now, I've got this US 30 on my list. Remember, when I do my scan in the morning, it's actually about 12, 11, 10, 9, about 4.5 hours ago. So I had this US 30 prior to the break because we've got this basing structure. And within this, if we take it from here, you're looking at, it's very similar to the 500, where you can kind of get your head and shoulders pattern and squeeze into that area. So if we adjust this level slightly so it's a bit more clear to here, you can see that squeeze in from this structure. You know, there was a little bit of a worry, well, is this going to be a rising wedge? But it's kind of gone away from that now. And your pre-breakout pattern is quite nice. You know, you've got a bullish bar here, a kind of quasi-rising 5, and certainly a bullish bar here before it breaks. So if we get a retest of this area, which we may not even get now, it may just go before continuation to the upside, it's something that I would be kind of happy to take. We look at our confluence, and our confluence comes with you know, these wicks to the downside and 2 particular hammer bars here on this break, which I believe is probably broken from a technical aspect a bit earlier than I would have taken as a breakout trader. So we could get a fake out continuation. Absolutely, that is not off the cards, and it's probably the highest probability of that's going to happen in terms of, you know, if we're looking at downtrend or uptrend, i.e. counter trend uptrend, is less likely than that continuation of the trend. So if that retests and gives me something to go long, we are on that dynamic support to price on this US 30, which could cause a reaction. Yes, it could cause a reaction, but we have got a change in trend the last time we were there. Remember, markets have a memory. So it's got the confluence for a counter trend. Whether it sets up or not is a different story. Let's see. I need to get a new keyboard here. It keeps messing up for some reason. Dollar. The dollar today. How's everybody's trading week been? Are we making money? I have not made a trade. It's the 1st of December. I actually finished the month here, November, on the same as I did last month, 4%, and I did it on 2 trades. So I only took 2 trades last month in Ethereum and Euro Swiss, but the result was the same as taking 6 trades last month. So it just shows you that you can get exactly what you need through being selective. And if I can close out the year on a nice, you know, another 4%, I'd be absolutely happy with that. So December coming in, it is the holidays. Sometimes during the end of December, markets lack some volume because people are obviously on holiday. But let's see. So dollars. This is why I don't like fundamental analysis. We got that, or should I say, I like waiting for the market's reaction to the news rather than the news itself, because we saw this quite some time before. I actually took a trade in DXY and we had a push on and we immediately rejected that to the downside. So what I'm thinking, and longer term, I'm thinking dollar bullishness. God, this thing's not working. So longer term, I'm thinking dollar bullishness because this particular candle here, which looked quite bearish on US Open yesterday, obviously that shifted a bit. If we get some, possibly a complex corrective now from here, oh God, from here, something like this to go long, this would look good. You know, if we think about the dollar likes the 50% area. So depending on how you take your fib, now this is all dependent on how you see the markets, but I normally take my fib from what I consider the start of the move. And we're getting to the point where we're kind of tagged on that 38, but we're looking for a pullback really for healthy continuation within this 40-60 box to move to the upside. Now this may just correct just in a kind of steady state before movement. Yep, that's fine. But it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. So my bias is dollar to the upside, but don't discount this on what we're seeing on the 4-hour chart. We've got our basing structure. Tag that area. We're kind of in, if we ignore this wick, potentially this for movement to the downside before movement to the upside. So I'm thinking dollar shorts intraday maybe for the possible rest of the week. But I think longer term, look at that daily chart as your most powerful time frame for a reason to enter this dollar long. How do I calculate month percentage? I just do multiple of R's, RAN. So for example, every trade I take is 2% because I'm more of a selective trader, so I'm allowed to do 2% on that. So 0.75 is 0.75 of 2%, 1.25 is 1.25 R. Does that make sense? That's simply how I do. I just think it's a very simple way to look at it. I don't calculate pips. You know, I don't really see why. Well, it doesn't. I don't understand calculating how many pips you make because that all depends on what your stop loss is. So for me, I just do it on a multiple of R and get my percentage from there. Very simple. Okay, setups today. I've talked about US 30 Bitcoin. I'm looking at Bitcoin both long and short. If we look at the shorter term perspective, i.e. our intraday perspective, here on the 30-minute or potentially 1 hour, you can see this kind of squeezing price action into this kind of key level on our intraday chart. So we're getting that squeeze into this section here. Now, if I zoom in, again, I need to get a new keyboard with this because it is not working. So if we zoom in, you can see that squeeze there. I know we've had a wick, but if we get a breakout, retest to the downside, this would be quite nice for me. Now, longer term, if we look at the daily chart, okay, longer term, in terms of a downward, God, I can't speak today. I'm losing all my chain of thought. In terms of the downward bias, we're kind of getting this, you know, momentum to the downside, retested this area, and it looks like buyers are failing to take it to the upside. So that's your bias for movement to the downside. Your bias for movement to the upside is, okay, we're getting a slight loss of momentum here, V reversal, getting a reaction from this area before potentially moving to the upside. So this is why I've got Bitcoin shorts and I've also got Bitcoin longs on this 4-hour chart. Looking at this here, kind of larger head and shoulders, basing structure here, volatility contraction before movement to the upside. Now this 200 is a problem. We want this to consolidate a little bit more so that that breakout, again, is above that 200, which adds that 200 as an area of dynamic support to price. So I like both options. You know, again, you can look at this as from a channel perspective here, breaking out of this channel, retesting this channel, 20 period curling up. Nice reload back to that 20 for movement to the upside. And then you've got the other option of, well, if we break below this structure here and retest it, this continuation of the pullback might continue for a little bit longer. So as I said, I like both options. If we look at a longer term perspective, we could be just in this, but this looks a little bit more impulsive than this one. This structure as a whole, coming from our impulse, loss of momentum, harder reset, certainly looks better than this. So let's see how that plays out on that intraday charts in the 4-hour. NZD CAD. What's your thoughts on USD CAD? I'll go into that, Kristen. I'll go into that. NZD CAD is another counter trend opportunity. I like this hourly. I don't like where this 200 is. Unfortunately, you get a lot of that in our counter trend trades. But we've got our basing structure here. We've got our head and shoulders within our handle or within our pre-breakout context. Another reload to the 20. We're accumulating underneath this level. This is nice. You know, this is nice. So if you do get a breakout, which I hope doesn't come for another little bit so we can get this 200 down, so our breakout retest and potentially let's say an engulfing candle on high volume, which breaks above the 200, so a price action is above both moving averages for movement to the upside. I kind of like that, you know. We've got our confluence with this pattern on the 4-hour. You can see it a bit clearly there, basing cup with handle, because it's getting out with a little bit of, okay, this is a corrective to continue rather than, you know, counter trend longs. So it is a little bit less high probability because of where this daily is, but I think there's enough there to take it if it gives us exactly kind of what we want. So NZD CAD looking for potential longs there. And finally, gold. Gold is the last one on my list. I think this is pushed on a little bit, but let's see. Gold. Here we go. On this 4-hour chart, we had a breakout. It wasn't enough for me to take the break, but it is enough for me to potentially take a breakout retest of this area. But I don't like this particular bar. You know, I don't like this one, but we could look at it being as a little bit climactic from this area. So if we do get an AB shallow C, so A, B, see on that 20 and some bearish momentum on volume to go to the downside, I still wouldn't mind that, but it would have to turn, because of this price action now, it would have to turn into a complex for me to be able to do that. Now, if you look at the daily's good. You know, the daily is on a downtrend. Fundamentally, do I agree with selling gold? Absolutely not. I think gold should be higher than what it is right now. But, you know, you can't lie, and you can't forget these wicks to the upside on this daily chart. We're underneath this 200 MA now. Price action recently has been bearish. We're on a bearish move. We're technically on a downtrend now. So, I mean, I've got to go with what the technicals tell me. And right now, if we do get that complex corrective, taking it short doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. So that's the main ones today: Bitcoin, US30, NZD CAD, and gold. I'll have a look at what you guys want me to look at. It has been a quiet week for me. Not really much going on, to be honest with you. Sometimes trading is boring. This week has been properly boring with trading, and unfortunately, that's just the game sometimes. What's my thoughts on USD CAD? I don't like where it is on the daily. You know, I like the idea of buying it, but I couldn't buy it now because we're at a decent level. You know, you have to remember what happened the last couple of times. We've got a reaction here. You probably might expect a reaction from this area before continuation to the upside. That's not to say that has to happen. You know, support and resistance levels are not insurmountable. They're broken all the time. But I don't like this price action here. Okay, notice within these trends, we're kind of pushing on, correcting, pushing on. It's not like that right now. And you're probably expecting some possible reaction. We could get this for that corrective before movement to the upside. So if I had to have a bias on USD CAD, it would be on that daily, wait for a pullback entry before going long. I do agree with buying it. If you're looking for shorting opportunities, you could look at this area for going short, but you have to remember, again, that is counter trend shorts. It's actually not bad, you know. There. Do you know what? That's actually not bad. I might add that to my list. Thanks for who brought that up? Kristen, yeah. I'm gonna add that to my list. You know, if I get this. Again, the 200, all these 200s will be in the way for counter trend. But if we get that, to get part on that counter trend pullback on USD CAD, that might not be too bad. You know, for this. I'm going to add that to my list. Thanks for bringing that up. I didn't even notice that this morning. USD CAD shorts. Yeah, so essentially with that USD CAD, that's what I'm looking for. Better to look at this hourly or on the 30-minute or 15-minute, whatever you like. And that's essentially what I'm looking for to go short. Wilson, I just did USD CAD. I kind of like it short if it breaks out, retest that area. But longer term, it's a long on a pullback for me. Pradeep, I'm still in Euro Swiss short. Where will be the perfect profit target? Oh, Pradeep, the perfect profit target? I don't know, mate. I wish I knew the future. I would be a billionaire by now, but unfortunately I don't. Where would be the perfect profit target? The perfect profit target is whatever fits your strategy, mate. So for me, I usually like to trail the swings, but sometimes you get caught out like I was. But you could trail these swings. You could put your stop here and just let this go as long as it wants to go, Pradeep. You know, the risk is off. So Swiss should benefit from that as that kind of safe haven asset, that safe haven currency. It looks quite bearish here. We're on an absolutely, looking back in hindsight, a lovely downward trend. So let it go. You know, just trail the swings. I think that's a good profit-taking strategy. Capture as much profit as you can. You know, if you're in the smaller time frames and you can be trailing your stops here. Stop would be here. Wait for that potential breakthrough for another swing and just keep going down. Patience, 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 patience. No worries, mate. Pound CAD silver. Pound CAD for silver. It's confusing. Pound CAD for silver. Pound CAD. I did have this, but you can see it. Well, I had it here on my smaller time frames, but I didn't really like where the daily was. So that's why I haven't got them on my watch list. I mean, look at this. Potentially looking at, you have got a big bullish bar here. We're digesting that bullish bar, which sometimes you expect before continuation. I don't think it's a nice chart. I don't think it's a nice chart on any of the smaller time frames. But you may get a reaction here. You're possibly getting a V reversal on the smaller for continuation to the downside. I don't think it's a nice chart, mate. I honestly don't. I think on the daily, it looks better for movement to the upside because of this larger structure. But on the smaller time frames, there's that argument for going short. You know, this is a big rejection. And this is potentially a pre-breakout pattern. It's not broken yet, but it is potentially that pre-breakout pattern. And also saying that, you're getting some bullish pressure here. So what do I think? I think it looks better on the daily long, but I think all the other time frames look short. So I mean, I don't really like it, mate. I wouldn't want to give you a proper bias because I think that could go either way. I think that would go. I mean, look, you're in between the moving averages here on the 4 hour as well. It's hard for that one to be predicted, I think. Ivan, morning, mate. What do you think about this short idea in UJ? Do me a favor, guys, if you can like the stream, that would be lovely. Still trying to get to that 1,000 subs by Christmas. Not quite there yet, but hopefully I'll get there. Hey, Mida, morning. How are you? Short idea in UJ. Short idea in UJ. I actually identified a level this morning on UJ for potential longs here. Doesn't look like it's taking at the moment. If the SPX decides to push on, which is why I think the SPX is in a decent area where we're going to have that decision between, right, are we going to go up or are we going to come back down? In which case, if we come back down, you'd expect UJ to fall, right? You expect the yen to be the main beneficiary of stocks falling because of that. It's the main risk-off asset, right? The main risk-off currency. So in that case, yes. So I think if you're looking at UJ, keep an eye on this SPX. Okay, so if we are, and the reason why it may come up as well is because the smaller time frames on this index look quite good. And when stocks push up, you know, we're technically risk on. I know not in an overall sense, but let's say in an hourly sense, and that should negatively affect the yen. However, if we get to this area and we get a reaction here, and this comes back down, yeah, I think UJ moves to the downside. Certainly with that, where that dollar is, we're expecting dollar weakness on that pullback before movement to the upside. UJ makes sense. Now, in terms of the technicals, if you get a break above this area, we've not properly broken out yet here, then, or from this section, actually if this turns into an ABC, so here, this turns into an ABC and you get a break above this area, UJ would look good to the upside. So just be aware of that. Who asked me about that? Ivan. Just be aware of what it looks like here because it doesn't actually look bad for an intraday long rather than a short. But if the stocks fall off, UJ should come down. That's probably my opinion on it, mate. 4 hour, we touch the support zone here, getting some pressure of it again, which is what you expect. Remember, markets have a memory. You'd expect a reaction off of it. Do I like this price action for movement to the downside? No. You know, I consider this area broken, but broken earlier than it should have, and we're kind of getting a fake out movement back up to the upside. So, you know, potentially, if we consider this a fake out, look at where the stop locations are. Maybe that, possibly. But as I said, I think the best thing to look at for UJ is the SPX 500 to determine where the risk sentiment will go. That makes sense? Anything else you guys want me to look at? Yeah, like I said, it's very quiet for me. I'm starting my new 200K tomorrow. So for anybody that's new, I'll start this again tomorrow. This is my last day, but obviously I've not been trading on it. So I'm going to start that tomorrow. And hopefully a Christmas present for me, getting finally my Everest. This is the longest it's ever taken me to pass this challenge. My first two 100Ks, I think my first one took me 6 months or something. I think I'm in my 6th month now for this one. So hopefully the 7th month, fingers crossed, will be the month. I'm sick of them. I'm so sick of FTMO challenges, I'll tell you that. I hope this is the last one I ever bloody do. Hate them. But then I'm going to go into my FOREX fund, so technically I'm just going to keep doing them until I get to that million. That is my goal by this time next year. But let's see. Make sense? Okay, good, mate. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, guys, if you can like the stream, try to get me 25 likes, 26 people watching. That would be great. 20 likes. If there's nothing else, remember, sometimes the best position is not to have a position on at all. I do believe in selectivity. I am a much better trader now that I trade less than when I traded every day. And again, you know, my monthly just shows that. Look at this in May. Look at this in May here. Horrible month. Absolutely minging month. I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trades. I literally couldn't buy a win. Lost 12%. And I made 2 trades in November and made 4. You know, just shows you. What's the percent target for FTMO? For the Astro, for the first 30 days, for the challenge, it's 10%. For the second stage is the verification. It's 5% in 60 days, and then you get your account. So it's difficult, mate. 10% in 1 month is difficult. I have done it twice this year. Normally, I have a double-digit months, maybe 3 times a year, I would say. But I've only had 2 this year. But I've been pretty consistent. The only thing that I didn't like about this year was my summer. My summer was just absolutely horrible, and it really really fucked up my whole my whole stats for the year. You know, I was heading for a record year. I was on 36% at the end of May, and then yeah, my summer was minging, and I've kind of steadied the ship a little bit with the last 2 months. So I'm hopefully, and bear in mind, I would have taken an 8% in August, but I missed it. So hopefully in good December, I'll be happy with mid-20s for the year. I'll be happy with mid-20s for the year. Pound Swiss, sure, mate. I'll do Pound Swiss, and that'll be my last one. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss. The daily's had a decent move. I'm being biased, it's got to be down. Maybe we come back and retest this area here. Breakout, technical breakout retest. You know, think about that 20. The 20 is not bad. Maybe we get that back to the 20 before continuation on that Pound Swiss. Come back and retest this area here. You know, we could have that complex back up. Continuation breakout of that corrective for movement to the downside. That seems to be what it should be. Although in saying that, lower time frames look not bad for a breakout already. You know, we could get movement if you get some bearish sentiment here where it's at now, because this last hour has been quite bullish. If you get some bearish sentiment there, then taking that to the downside may not be a bad play. Again, markets don't like uncertainty. The main beneficiaries of uncertainty are the Swiss and the yen. So your bias has got to be, your bias has got to be down. You know, are we doing the same thing here? That has to be your bias. Use this 4-hour chart, I would say, with Pound Swiss. You know, the 4-hour chart is great. It's my favorite chart. And look for an entry, i.e. something like this here. Look for an entry to go short. You know, I didn't make up these very simple chart patterns, but they work because, you know, you see them work time and time again. So use these knowledge that you have of simple chart patterns for bearish and bullish signals to take this to the downside. And if you don't get it, you know, pound could rally from then. If the SPX pushes up, then we could rally. But if you get that bearish signal, take it to the downside. I think if you take that trade 100 times, you make more money than you lose. From June 15 to August 15 is better to be on vacation. Yeah, do you know what, Mita? I agree with that. But the problem is, I've been profitable now for a few years. I don't think that's enough data for me yet to actually say, right, I'm just going to take the summer off this time. You know? So if next summer I have a bad summer, then maybe the year after that I'll be like, no, do you know what? I'm going to take June to August off, you know, go to Europe for a few months and then come back in September. There is an argument for that. I mean, if I'd done that, I'd be on almost 50% for the year. You know, unbelievable. Despite what social media traders tell you, 50% on the year is great. All right, everybody, remember, like the video if you are interested in RTFX 7 days free. Link is there. We are, like I said, we are announcing our next 50K FTMO giveaway on Friday, our $200 cash giveaway on Friday. If you're interested in being part of the team, click that link. It's all free for 7 days. Yeah, seasonality, yeah. I've never been a massive person into that. I'm not into seasonality for currency pairs. I'm into seasonality for my personal trading. So if I can find and again, you need a lot of data for this. If I can find seasonality within my trading, i.e. normally summer might be shite, then yeah, makes sense. All right, guys, like the video. Come on, let's get 20 likes. 20 likes, and you'll make my Wednesday. As I said, I'll be back on Friday. Have a great day. Have a great trading day. Remember to trade safe. Don't blow your account on one trade. Don't over-risk. Don't revenge trade, because you'll be in the 95%. And that's not what we want, right? We're here to be in the 5% and to be taking some money out the markets consistently, right? All right, guys, trade safe. Peace.